Guys, welcome back to another episode of Unboxed, and today we are joined by Irish Enduro legend Greg Callahan, who simply put makes us regular humans look like we're going through life on training wheels. I'd say he's got more dirt under his fingernails than we've all seen put together, and he makes crashing through forests at breakneck speed look like an art form. But underneath the mayhem, he's just a guy who, he's great by the way, but he just enjoys the thrills that life throws at him, and he simply wants to give back to a community who has welcomed him in from the beginning. Now, with that being said, make sure you like and follow the podcast, because without that support we won't be able to get on crazy exciting guests like Greg. Now it's your turn. Go enjoy the episode, but I'm putting a slight safety warning in here. Do not try any batshit crazy bike down a hill mountain stuff from listening to this episode. That's on your own free will. Nothing to do with me. So yeah, go enjoy the episode. Okay, today I am very curious actually to be joined by another batshit crazy lad like me. Welcome, Greg Callahan, to the pods. It's great to have you. Yeah, just two mad heads sitting together. What else could go wrong, eh?
Yeah, exactly. No, thanks for having me on. Looking forward to it. It's good to come on and have a chat.
Chats, nuts, or whatever we do. But right, we'll just do a quick intro of Greg. So Greg, you are a Irish Enduro racer. For those who don't know what that is, can you explain very briefly what it is?
Yeah, so it's a form of mountain biking, and the format is very similar to car rally, for anyone that's familiar with that. So it's multiple stages in a day. The stages are predominantly downhill. So you'll ride up to the top of the mountain untimed, but you'll have a start time. And then you'll race back down a stage. And then you ride up again and do a different stage. And it's 5 or 6 stages per race. And then your stage times added together. Fastest at the end wins.
So what happens if you can't cycle to the top? Or like something happens on the way up? Is that you just done?
Kind of, yeah. So that's another element, is that you're self-sufficient. So you'll go into the pits once per day. Mm-hmm. But if you have a problem with the bike outside of that one time in the pits, you have to fix it yourself. So like you'll carry a few tools and spares and stuff. But yeah, obviously the goal is to finish.
Ideally. Sure, you could be rolling down the hill at that point. You don't need
it's
to...
kind of the bare minimum is to finish, I should say. It's not the goal is going to be on that.
Just make it down there, bike and all. Just doesn't matter if it's all in one piece or not. Eh?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Just hack your way through.
Okay, well, let's first rewind a little bit. So obviously we know Greg now is Irish Enduro athlete, cycles up hills for fun and then down them for even more fun. But who was Greg when you were younger? Tell us a bit about that.
I was pretty much the same, to be honest. Since day one, it's been bikes for me. Like my dad and my uncles and my whole family really have been bike mad for generations. So as soon as I was born, I was at motorbike races and stuff and just riding around on a bike at them. Pretty much, yeah. Came out and landed on a bike.
Yeah, yep.
So like school and all that stuff, it was just things I had to do, but wasn't really for me. Like,
just kind of tick the box, be like, right, get the child services off your parents, being like, no, he's in school, he is there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it was probably a nightmare because of all that.
Sure, look, it makes it interesting for them, man. You don't want to be that boring, kids.
Yeah, exactly. No, I was never boring.
always exciting. But what was it, something about like the area that you grew up in that bikes were always just a big part of it? Or like, how did the family get into it?
Yeah, well, it goes way back. So like my granny and granddad were massively involved in motorbikes. The Callahan name is pretty well known in pretty much every discipline of motorbiking in Ireland. So yeah, like we just, all our weekends were at events, and if there wasn't an event on, we were going out on the bikes anyway. So it was kind of, I don't think I even had a chance to think about whether I wanted to do it. It was just, that was it. Like, but then in terms of how I switched to mountain biking, so like I could only go out on the motorbike when my dad could take me at the weekends or evenings or whatever. So then that obviously wasn't enough for me when I was, 14, 15. So I just started I grew up in Rathfarnham in the south side of Dublin, which is the bottom of the Dublin Mountains, Ticknock being the closest. So as soon as I was old enough, I just started going out with my mountain bike and getting a little bit closer to the mountains all the time, and kind of went to some local jumps just actually at Marley Park when they have the concerts. Out the front of there used to be some jumps, and I met some people there, and they were all super sound, super welcoming. And kind of, I didn't really know anything about mountain bikes. I just was enjoying those jumps. And they said to me, like, oh, we're going up to Ticknock at the weekend to do some mountain biking. You should come. And then, yeah, that was that really. Once I went up, I was hooked. And yeah, that's the cool thing about mountain biking. Like, everyone is super welcoming, and it's a really cool community. So yeah, like those people I met, like they're still the people I ride bikes with now. And that was, I'm going to sound old, that was probably like 18 years ago or so.
A few years ago, we'll stick with that. But did you find that because, yeah, you were still kind of new learning about it, that, yeah, that community or those ones who you went to the park with, they were straight away were just like, no, we want to help you. We want to introduce you to the sport. Did you find that was the way?
Yeah, kind of. And I think they were probably finding their feet as well, because we were all just young lads, really. And it was probably just someone extra to come send ourselves off jumps and laugh at each other. It was just another person added to the group.
Someone else to record doing batshit crazy stuff and then see if you make it at the end, pretty much.
Well, it was enough years ago. I don't think we were even recording each other.
No, you'll be going out.
Camera phones weren't a thing.
No, it's the old school like flip bike camcorders that you'll be recording with instead.
Yeah, exactly. There was one of the lads actually, and he's a professional filmer now, but he was into the filming even from back then, and he used to bring a camera every now and again, and a few videos come up out of the archives every now and again, and my God, we were idiots. Like,
yeah, I can imagine. It's like now you look back at it and you're like, okay, that I actually could have died. Yeah, like is there moments like that where you just think back and you're like, okay, like there's just whenever you're younger, there's no perspective on how dangerous it actually is.
Yeah, pretty much. And I think even like looking back, like all the jumps that we built or anyone built, we never built landings. So it'd just be a jump and then you would just land somewhere. Whereas like a bit of experience teaches me now that generally landings are the problem with jumps. It's not the taking off thing.
What do you mean by that whenever there's landings?
So like a downslope. So like if you picture, I don't know, any jump you see really, any kind of car, bike jump, there'll be a takeoff and there'll be a landing. So a nice downslope for a smooth, re-entering to the earth. And yeah, there wasn't them. It was just flat, straight back onto the ground, which is heavy, and then you bounce and probably crash.
hit a few trees while you're just going in between it all.
Yeah.
Have you had any big injuries or mishaps that, like whenever you're younger, that came from that, or was touchwood it was all quite okay?
Touchwood, fairly okay. Like I've had some pretty good crashes over the years. Yeah, I think probably one of my worst ones was probably when I was the youngest, so going way back now, I think I was probably 5 or 6 or so, and my dad used to race motorbike enduros, and I would bring my little bicycle and I'd just play around in the pits and wherever we were, I'd just be playing around. And it was this race down in Hollywood in Wicklow, and it was in a grass field, but either side of the field was 2 grass hills. And earlier in the day, I'd taken my bike up the grass hill, thinking it was a great idea, and I'll bomb back down. Got to the top. Well, I didn't even get to the top. Got like halfway up, turned around, crashed back down. So obviously got in trouble for that. Was told, don't be going up there, you'll fall. And then the race went on, and at the end of the day, everyone's standing around chatting about the race. And someone turns around and just sees me at the top of the hill with my bike, one of my dad's friends. And apparently the whole car park just stopped, just froze, and just looked at me, everyone head on the hands. So I came barreling down the hill and absolutely nailed myself, just head over shite, barreling down the hill. Get to the bottom, and I'd like hit my eye. I think the handlebar or something caught me. So I went to the hospital, and in pretty big panic at this stage, just like, geez, he's hurt his eye, like this is not good. And we go in and we do that test, where they just put the letters in front of you, and like it's the big letter A on top. And we do the left eye, and I read through them all, and it was like, yeah, that's okay. Do the right eye, and it's the first letter, and I'm like, no, I can't read it. And they're like, what? I was like, no, I can't read it. So we thought I'd injured my eye in the crash, but it turns out I had a bad lazy eye, or I still do have a really bad lazy eye. So this was how we discovered it. But at the time, we thought I'd written off my eye, but it turns out it didn't really work in the first place. So,
Jesus, I'd say your parents were probably shitting themselves, being like, okay, what the hell is this kid done? Like, he's just bombed down this hill, and now he's just ruined his future and everything. Then Ashley turned around and was like, oh, relief, the biking was fine.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it took a long time before it worked out.
Yeah,
So there's probably a lot more head in the hands, like, God's sake, Greg, will you stop doing these things? To then now it's like, oh, no, okay. It was
actually,
for a good reason.
I'll give it a go.
Yeah.
But then your parents after that were probably like, oh my gosh, like, he's not going to learn now because he didn't actually injure, not that you didn't injure yourself, but you didn't actually almost lose your eye.
Well, in terms of learning, like, I was only emulating my dad, and he was doing the same. Like, he was having way worse injuries than me. So,
Oh, well, then you're learning from the best.
yeah, so there wasn't much chance of me just thinking, like, oh, no, this isn't a sensible thing to do.
Did you ever at one point be like, oh, this is maybe a bit risky, or like doubt yourself in what you're going to try and do? Or like if you got, say, up to the hill, were you like, oh, this could go wrong? Or were you always just like, no, let's just see?
No, to be fair, like, I've been pretty, I'd say maybe calculated. Like, I'm not one that'll just blindly throw myself into danger. I'll kind of assess things first and make sure, I'll stay within my limits unless there's a reason to go over that, like racing. So, like, I've generally been, pretty safe over the years, I would say. Like, for the amount of time I've spent on my bike over the years, my list of injuries is pretty tiny, to be fair. Like, I've been racing the World Cups for 12 years now, and I've only missed 2 for injury.
Oh, whoa.
So I've been pretty clean sheet, I would say.
You may pray to whoever is listening that you didn't just jinx yourself for the rest.
Yeah, no, I'm really touching wood as I say these things.
hold on for dear life.
Yeah, hold on to the table.
Oh, was it something that when you were like, even when you're younger, even at what point did you realize you were good at this, or that it was something that you wanted to really pursue, get after?
Yeah, seriously, from the start. Yeah, like anytime I got on a bike, it was kind of like, oh, he's pretty good, or like I took to it pretty well.
Yeah.
Like I did my first event when I was 8, and that was a motorbike trials, which I did from 8 until 15. Well, I still do a bit now, but in terms of that being my main sport, and it was always, I always took to it well, and it always kind of came quite easily. But yeah, it's probably a byproduct of doing it as much as possible. Spending a lot of time trying to get good.
Oh, was like the downhill mountain biking, was it like your say favorite to do, or was there other ones that you wish like you could try a bit more or whatnot?
I always wanted to go fast, so like at trials, like motorbike trials, is quite slow and precise and technical, and you're like slowly going over obstacles. But then whenever you'd have different sections in the event, and between those sections, I just wanted to go fast.
Yeah.
And me and my friends from the events, one guy in particular, Zenon, we would just go like make a little course and find some jumps and fly around, which all the parents hated because that's not trials at all.
No.
So like I would have loved to have done motocross. And when I was a kid, that's really what I wanted to do. But my dad was kind of like, it's too expensive and it's too dangerous. And he's dead right. Like looking back, I'm glad I didn't, because it's, the money you have to spend to be competitive internationally in that sport is insane. And you're on a track with 30 other people. So, it's one thing being sensible yourself, but if some other fella takes you out, then you could be in a world of trouble. So, so biking was kind of as I say, it was easy for me to go after school, take my bike and go do it myself. So it was the most accessible.
When you were in school, was it always something you just thought about? Is like, oh, school bell done, get on the bike and go?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. Like the best part of school was cycling to and from school.
Jesus.
And then, I could see Ticknock from school as well. So like I'd just be sitting there staring out the window.
Oh Jesus! You're probably like just dreaming about going up and down it, and then in class you're probably doing nothing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and even it's the social side of it, because like my friends were all in mountain biking and they were in different schools. So then like I'd have been at a race at the weekend, or we would have gone mountain biking somewhere, and you come in on Monday, and all the other guys in school, they would have spent the weekend together doing whatever it was that weekend, and I'd have been to the other end of the country doing a race, doing all these mad exciting things and hanging out with people that were older than me as well. So it's all very exciting, whatever they're up to when you're that age. So then I'd come back in on Monday and just kind of, you'd have nothing in common, nothing to chat about, and I'd just be like, oh, get me out of here, kind of, Did
you find that hard, that a lot of your friends were elsewhere, or that you kind of had to make your own way in school because you weren't really not clicking with the other people, but it wasn't the same interest that you had?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, for sure. And like, I don't know, is it different now? But back then, mountain biking was such an unknown sport.
Mm,
And, it was seen as kind of like maybe skateboarding or one of those kind of, I don't know what the word would be, but one of those kind of more wild sports where it's something
yeah.
you hang out and you fall around the place and there's no like career path in it. So a lot of the teachers and students would just be like, he's off doing that stupid thing at the weekends when they would have been all been playing football or Gaelic or whatever. Um, so yeah, there was definitely, yeah, we were on a different page for sure.
How did you find that though growing up? Because surely there must have been points where you're like, yeah, find it difficult in that sense where you just didn't have much in common with them.
Yeah, exactly that. It was just didn't have much in common. There wasn't much to talk about, so you'd kind of have to try just find common ground and maybe almost fake an interest in. Like I played soccer for a little bit, just because I was like, right, everyone's doing this. If I want to be with the cool kids or whatever, you have to play a bit of soccer, and yeah, didn't really love it. I was
Did you ever
a
find
defender.
it?
I was a defender, and it was my bravery that got me through because I just run at people.
Just run into people, throw yourself at their feet.
Yeah, like I had no skill with a ball, like at all.
I can honestly just say this: you like tilting along, like trying to kick it, and then you're just like you'd be the guy at the back, just hoof it up the other end of the field.
Oh yeah,
Get it away.
100%. Yeah,
Big toe poke through.
yeah, that's exactly me.
Did you ever think that you were going to do anything with your school, go to university or anything?
Yeah, for sure. Because I think that's the path you're led to, follow. So like when I did my leaving cert and I applied to do mechanical engineering as a college course, and I got accepted, and I was going to do it, but then it was, you're leaving school and you're 17, 18, and it's kind of pretty key years for sporting development as well.
Yeah.
So I was going to do it, and then I was like, if I do this, because mechanical engineering is quite a big hours course. So it's a pretty big commitment. So I was like, I can't do college and then work and race because I would need to work to fund racing.
Yeah.
So I was kind of like, it's one or the other. And yeah, a lot of people were telling me like, you have to go to college. You have like that. You need a degree. That's it. But then I spoke to one guy who, he was a trials rider, and he kind of said to me, he was like, you'll only be this age once. And like, you can, when you're older, you can go back and redo your education, but you can't go back and do, have another chance at racing. So it was kind of like, that kind of helped me made up my mind that, right, I'll give the racing a proper go now. And then, 23, you can be a mature student and go back. So I was like, right, if I get to 23 and it isn't working out, then I'll start my education a bit later, or my third level education. And yeah, turned professional at 23. So thankfully didn't have to go back into the real world.
I can imagine it's delay that as long as possible. There's no need to be doing that.
Yeah, exactly. I'm still running away from it.
What is adult life? No point in it. Who needs to have a house and bills and stuff? What?
No, exactly. I want to go play on my bike.
Yeah, exactly. Me and my bike and my spanners.
Yeah.
Did you find though that there was probably a lot of people pushing you that you had to take that like traditional route instead of just kind of doing what was right for you?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. And like even, like in the mountain bike clubs and stuff, like I remember one of the older guys in the club, he just told me I was an idiot. And he kind of, really made me feel tiny because I wasn't going to college. And in my mind, I was just like, no, like even if I went, like looking back, I wouldn't have applied myself to it. And
yeah,
it just wasn't for me. So.
But I think to know that at such, kind of a young age where, yes, of course, whenever you're in it, you just want to do your sport, you just want to play. And obviously you ride your bike and go down hills and whatnot. But then I think to know at that age, no, this isn't for me now. I think that's also something, that's really important because, as you say, you could have just done it, got into thousands of debt or whatever it is, and then just done nothing with it.
Yeah, exactly. And to be fair, like even the funny thing is, like at that young age, you have to make a decision on your future. But I chose that course and I didn't actually know much about it. And knowing now people have gone through that course, like it's like when I hear mechanical engineering, I think of mechanics, really, which it's not at all. And I probably would have been pretty out of my depth with what that course actually entails, which even though I'd applied for it, I didn't know that. So yeah.
But did you find that you were kind of, no, I don't want to say forced into it, but you're like, oh, the kid with a bike, he's good with his hands, like he can do this. Do you know what I mean? Did you ever have that kind of, I don't know, outside force behind you, or was it something that you were just like, oh, you thought about yourself?
No, yeah, to be fair, it came from me because as long as I've been riding bikes, I've been breaking bikes. So I've been taking them apart and putting them together. And,
Yeah.
I always enjoyed trying to understand how things work. And I do like that type of thing. So yeah, it did come from me.
Is it like, do you see it more nowadays with, say, like people in the biking industry where they don't take that traditional route anymore? It's more like as you say, try and become a professional or try and make it work and then see what happens.
Yeah, and for sure, like, it's not to say it always works out. Like, I've other friends who, they left school even to pursue mountain biking, and maybe after 3 or 4 years they stopped mountain biking altogether because it just really didn't work out. So yeah, I think everyone has their own their own path and their own things that they're good at, and some make certain things work and some don't.
Oh, pretty much just life.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's it.
Just tumble along, see if it works. Okay, so you turn pro at 23. How did that happen? How did that come about?
So I raced 2 years as a privateer in the World Cup scene. It was the Enduro World Series then, but it's just a name change, really. So I did 2 years privateer in my van, and that was class. Some of the best years I've had, honestly, because the freedom with that was deadly. Like, you're just traveling around Europe and you'd have 3 weeks between races and you'd be like, right, where are we parked the van this week? And you just go explore. So it was class. And yeah, I had some really good results, even competing against guys on factory teams and full-time professionals. So I was working as a courier in the off season, delivering parcels and stuff. And then that
around Europe or?
No, at home. Oh. in the off season, so in winter.
Okay.
So, like, mainly the couple of months before Christmas, you do a big stint of work and top up the piggy bank that way. And then there's kind of a bike shop that I was working in as well. So yeah, I was working and then take the summers off and go racing. And yeah, I had some good results. So then by the end of the 2014 season, had quite a lot of interest from teams, and Enduro was getting bigger and bigger. So there was more brands wanting to get involved and more teams. So yeah, had a few options by the end of that year, and then chose to go with Cube, which is one of the biggest teams at the time. And then 2015 was my first year pro.
Sick, not bad. So we're now this is 2014, almost 10 years of pro then?
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah, exactly.
Have you noticed a big difference from whenever you first became a pro to, like, say, now? Well, like, now you're not with your team anymore. You're not, is it what was the term you used? A private?
Yeah. Privateer. So I'm somewhere in between now, because those first couple of years, like, I wasn't getting any money from brands, or the money I had was the money I was getting from working.
Yeah.
Whereas now I'm not on a factory team. I'm doing my own program, and you could maybe say, like, I've built my own team around myself, because it's still, like, I'm still living as a professional. I'm still getting paid from sponsors and stuff. So it's the same but different, kind of.
Have you noticed, even like through those, say, almost 10 years, the focus on the community behind it? Have you seen much of a change in it and how people want to get involved?
Yeah, absolutely. Like, it's gone way more professional, the racing side. Like, like, everyone really knows what they're doing now, whereas in the early years, I'd say there was a fair bit of winging it going on, and there was Pete riders from different backgrounds that came into Enduro, and it was all very much the riders and the sport were finding their feet.
Yeah.
Whereas now, like, the whole mountain biking has just gotten massive. Like, it's incredible. Like, even at home now, like, the infrastructure around the trails and the amount of bikes that you see on the back of cars worldwide is just crazy. So for sure, I think the whole industry has gotten bigger. And even since COVID, especially, like, got a lot of people into the mountains and on bikes. So yeah, I think it's really evolved a lot over those 12 years since I've been racing anyway.
Is it something you like to see, the fact that there's more people getting on bikes and stuff?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's like when you go back to my school days and you tell people you're mountain biking, And one, they're like, well, you can't make a career out of that. And two, they're like, well, what is that? Do you just crash your way down a hill? Or they just didn't understand it. Whereas now, you chat to someone that you meet for the first time, you're like, oh yeah, I do mountain biking. And they'll be like, oh, I have a friend that does that. Or, oh, I did that once. Or, oh, you can do it in this place. Most people now have some sort of an idea of what it is, which I think is, I think when, Joe Soaps know a bit about it, that kind of says a lot about how the sport has grown.
Yeah, I definitely have seen it more in Holland. So like obviously the Dutch are very well known for their biking life. But even in the past couple of years, the amount of like mountain bikes that you see on the back of cars going down, okay, not in Holland, well, very south of Holland, you need to go to or towards Germany. Because the rest of the place is flat. Like you go up a hill, like, to go into the parking garage. And I was like, Jesus, this is the biggest hill in Holland. Because it's so flat. But I've definitely seen way more people get mountain bikes and head to Germany, head to France, and to do some racing, which is actually, it's really cool to say.
Yeah, and even cycling in general, like I guess road cycling's probably massive there. Even just bikes in general, they seem to be everywhere now. Everywhere.
Well, sure, like I've now become a amateur professional rider with all my bits and bobs. No, like when I say I have the full shebang, like I have the full shebang. And it is actually a bit sad that I don't get out on my bike as much as possible, because I would I love it. Like I'm definitely made to be a biker, but I don't know I could do. I'm not a runner, so I know I can sit on a bike. So I don't think I could do the enduro, because it's not my cup of tea.
You don't know till you try.
That is true. Well, actually, to be fair, there was one time whenever I was younger, we had, where I lived, we had this hill, and it was called the Teletubby Hill. And, very appropriate for the ages. And we had a shopping cart. And so we put it in the shopping cart, top of the hill. And when I say you're bombing down the hill. So I was in the cart, like you do, like there's all different areas where it's like gets a bit steeper, gets a bit like shallower and whatnot. And then there was one time I was doing off the steep part, but I didn't see until I hit it that there was like a divot at the end. Oh, did I go flying out of it?
Jesus.
Like I would say I'd be lucky to still, like how I didn't break anything. Honestly, I was just a bit winded. Like the cart, like I was sitting at the front of it and just hit it. Poof, like what you see in honestly, like I'd say it was probably comical to watch.
That's like something Have You Been Framed?
No, honestly, if someone had filmed that, I would have made serious money off that, because. But then it's like,
I would hope you'd have a different experience of mountain biking. You've a bit more control of a mountain bike than a shopping cart, to be fair.
That is a very valid point. I've had some moments where I've been over my handlebars on my road bike, but the click-in things, whenever you're going fast, and then cars just cut you off, that doesn't help.
Yeah. To be fair, like a lot of people, if you start mountain biking, you wouldn't start with the clip-in pedals.
Yeah.
So you can easily eject just if you need to.
Off the side. Well, off the right side, not the downhill side. Has that ever happened? Have you ever seen that happen to anyone?
What, like off a cliff or something?
Yeah. Or maybe not off a cliff to be so dramatic, but like, just like down the wrong side of the hill.
Yeah. Like there's videos of crazy ones, where people have probably come out of it pretty badly. But I don't think I've experienced anything too traumatic, to be fair. Generally, most crashes you see are kind of funny. If you're out riding with the lads and someone has a whoopsie, it's generally like, oh, that was mad. And
I've seen a few with you. You put up on socials just covered in muck all down one side or something, where you just had a wee slip off.
Yeah, they're the best crack, because when it's winter, like you're just sliding around in the mud, and when you crash, you just keep sliding, so it's not the ground it's not as hard. So it's a bit more fun.
Soft. We soft landed for once.
Just into a nice bit of bog.
Wow, what would you rather have? Hard landing or a smell of the bog? I think that's an easy choice.
I love the bog. I'd just go in anyway.
Just go in for a wee dip between sitting there. It's like one of those like spa mud baths that people pay like hundreds of euros for, and you're just in free in the hill.
Yeah, exactly. That's just my Tuesday morning.
I'd say your girlfriend's probably like into the shower.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
Pretty much. Okay, so you were saying about how you like even whenever you're younger and even now, there'd be weeks and stuff between races. Like, how would you manage that time? Like, what would you do with yourself?
Yeah, like it's changed a lot now because now, I've got a coach and everything is planned. Same as yourself, like, so it's all built. Every decision is made around a training plan. Whereas the first few years of racing, it was a lot looser. I didn't have a coach, at least for the first year. Yeah, first year I didn't have a coach. So it was literally just, oh, we heard about this cool place. We have to go from, this part of Italy to this part of France. And we heard that there's a cool place in the middle. And like that first year, there was, I think, 4 or 5 vans full of guys and girls just traveling around between these races. So we'd all just say like, right, let's go here and do this. And yeah, it was some of the best times. Like it was class. Because there's all the like really famous parts of Europe, but that's how you find the little kind of hidden gems. It's a bit like at least in the mountain bike world in terms of bike parks and stuff. So yeah, there's a lot of good stories from those days, I would say.
Yeah,
a lot of good experience, life experience.
Are there any bits that you would like, or any place that you found that you would go back to regularly because you're like, yeah, this is so cool, it's such a gem?
Yeah, there's quite a few. Like there's Samoin in France, it's the next valley over from Morzine, which is Port Soleil, which is like the biggest mountain bike resort in Europe. And the next valley over is, in my opinion, way better, but people don't know about it. Just because it's not as
maybe you want to keep it that way. I don't know.
Yeah, I know. Hopefully, don't go. You won't like it. Don't go.
It's not great. It's not great. It's just a bit flat. Too many trees in the way.
Yeah. There's there, and then there's S1E8, which is a place in Italy, which hopefully go back to in the next few weeks. Actually, catch a bit of autumn there. But it was a good story from there. Like back racing as a privateer. Like obviously, I say you earn your money in the winter, but you were really making that stretch. So like what you were traveling around for on the summer was just peanuts. And one of the other vans, say 3 lads from the UK, and there was 2 brothers in that van. And for one of the trips, it was like a 6-week trip, and they had worked out every meal for the trip and how much they needed to eat, and then went to like Musgrave's kind of food wholesaler and bought like canned foods.
No.
So they just had these massive boxes of canned foods being like, that's our food for the next 6 weeks. And like you'd finish a race or whatever, and you'd be like, oh, come on, we're in Italy, let's go get a pizza. Because a pizza's €6 in Italy. And they'd be like, no, I've got my tin of spaghetti and sausages there. It's like, oh, lads, how malnourished can you be then by the end of it? Yeah.
Oh, bleed.
But then, we did a race in S1E8 in this place in Italy, and it was the end of the season, so budget was gone. Like I'd already rang my dad and gotten the, please can I have a bit of money. I'd already blown through that kind of pass. And so this race had prize money, and we needed the prize money to get home because I'd already cooked the brakes in the van. So the brakes were on the metal in the van because I'd nearly ran out of fuel, got over a mountain pass. So I came down a pass with the van in neutral, just on the brakes. And then obviously that just completely killed the brakes.
Oh, jeez.
So had to get back to the UK after this and needed prize money. And like the night before the race, we bought a margarita pizza for €5 and had some like leftovers in the van and put that on the pizza. And so then the last stage of the race was like a pursuit style. So you're racing head to head with the people, your competitors. The people. And so I was second before that stage, and I was like, if I win here, like we can maybe get the brakes done. And I caught the guy that was leading, and I was behind him, and I was like, right, I could see he was more tired than me, so I was like, right, I have this lad. And he just went down a real fast section. He went around the rock. Or no, sorry, I expected him to go around the rock, but he just bunny hopped over it and jumped it, and I didn't see it, didn't have time to react, so I just hit the rock.
Oh shit.
Massive crash, and got up, stayed in second because we'd kind of pushed on a bit ahead of third, and got that money just went straight into the van in diesel, and that was just enough to get us back to the UK. But yeah, literally had to get the prize money from that race to get home. Otherwise, it was like, right, let's try find a bit of work in Italy or something here in a mountain town in the middle of nowhere.
But that's probably what people don't realize is like they think, oh, you're off traveling, living this life, like competing and whatnot, but they don't actually realize how yeah, one, how expensive it is, but two, it's not just all this glitz and glam that people want to see. It's like, no, like you're grafting away, and you need that money literally to get home.
Yeah, exactly. And that's it. It's the Instagram effect, isn't it? It's you only see the good side of all these things, but behind the scenes, yeah, there's a lot going on. And I think even, because we're talking 2014.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of people now would forget about that, and then maybe see me maybe and be like, oh yeah, he's been a pro forever. He's had it easy. He doesn't understand all these things. But it's like, no, I've been through that side of it as well.
Do you find that hard though? Like when there's, say, these younger kids coming in and they're, not that they've had it easy, but they haven't experienced that, the toughness, the real grind to make it work. Do you find that difficult to like relate to them in a way, or?
Yeah, sometimes, but I think generally, like I've seen over the years, the ones who have to do it the hard way, they're the ones that stay around longer.
Mm-hmm.
So, the ones who do get it maybe on a silver spoon, they generally don't, things will get hard eventually, and that'll, maybe they won't stick it out then. So yeah, I definitely, like, I wouldn't change it. I'm happy I did it the hard way, because I think it's made me who I am, and it's great life experience, and you learn a lot of very important things, I think, through all that.
What would you say is the biggest, or one of the most important things you've learned along, like, doing that?
I think it's just resilience, really. Like, just keep at it, because it will work out, and even when it's hard, it'll get better. So yeah, just stick it out, really.
Pretty much like anything. I feel like you see it a lot nowadays, just with, I don't want to say with young kids, but like just people in general. Like you can definitely tell the people who have kind of had it rough, had to fight through stuff, or people who have, as you say, silver spoon. I'd say the same. Those silver spoon people who have just, had everything fed to them. And I wouldn't necessarily say it's their fault. I always say it's like a product of your environment.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But it's just, sometimes you're like, come on, a little slap, a little bit of the backhand will do you no harm.
Yeah, exactly. That's it. My dad used to always say,
I'm not promoting violence. Just to clarify.
Especially parents to kids.
They're like, wait, what? delete that. But not.
Yeah, no,
but not. Oh no, go on.
I was going to say, my dad used to always say, when the going gets tough, the tough get going, and I think that's pretty true.
Oh, I think so. Couldn't agree more. Daddy Callahan is speaking well.
He doesn't always, but sometimes he has some good ones.
Just rips out a good one-liner. Do you find it hard being away from home quite a lot?
Yeah, I can do sometimes. I'm probably used to it now as well. Like I'm used to different cultures and stuff. And I've always said, like, the more you travel, the more I realize how great Ireland is as well. Like when I'm away for a few months or whatever, and then you come back and just the crack, the scenery, the everything. It's just class. So yeah, it's tough in some ways, but in other ways it makes you appreciate home. So I don't know if I'd want to change it.
No, fair. And you can't get a good pint out of Ireland anyway, so.
No, exactly. So that's probably a good thing that I'm away from them a bit.
Fair. You could be rolling into the pub every night.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
You won't be crashing down the hill. You'll be rolling down the hill, so that's fine. That is fine.
The liquid courage.
Always needed. Okay, but so say if you weren't biking, or if you weren't involved with anything like that, what would you do? Like, what would you be doing with yourself?
I don't know. I've been asked this quite a lot, and I don't really know. Because, like, since day one, it's been bikes for me.
Yeah.
I never, had a chance to have a different interest or followed, a different path or whatever. So, honestly, I don't know. And, even, I would say, what probably would have done that mechanical engineering course, but that probably came along because of biking.
Yeah.
So, yeah, honestly, it's hard to say. Really hard to say.
Do you think it'll be something you'll stay in the future, like to coach, give back, make tracks, do stuff like that?
Yeah, for sure. Definitely. Like that, coaching, tracks, all that, that's things I enjoy big time. And even I'd love to stay in the racing side of it, where, to be a team manager and kind of help other riders, if it's not me racing, to be able to still be part of a team and still be part of the racing and share my experience. That's what I'd love to do next, I'd say.
But I think that's, like, even just hearing it, like, and from myself, you always, as an athlete or as a young kid, you value people who have been in it and who have experienced it more than, say, maybe someone who's just kind of come across. So I think, yeah, I could see you doing that. You give them some of the real life value information stuff as well as go on with the biking life.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But hopefully you wouldn't need to bring the back of the hand into it, as you say.
Again, we are not promoting violence, just to clarify. Oh.
Would you be the same? Would you stay in hockey as a coach?
Again, I've been asked this quite a lot. I think at the minute I would say no. Well, yeah, I don't know. I think yes, but no. I would struggle with younger kids in the sense that, one, I don't have enough patience for them.
Yes.
And like I do think it is really important to kind of, I've got so much from hockey and it's given me so much in my life that I think that, yeah, it's important to stay in it, and especially in Ireland, like keep trying to get that next generation of kids coming through and just seeing, yeah, what sport can do and how it can connect you with people. I think that aspect's really important. But I think I would need to be at the higher level coaching.
Yeah, fair. Well, that's
to put it
fair
the nicest way possible.
But you've probably, like, you've always expected, or you've given the best of yourself, so you would expect that then from anyone else.
Yeah.
And it maybe wouldn't be the case outside of the top level.
No, yeah, I actually think that's a really good way to put it. And it's, I think I know, like, or sorry, no, I know I sometimes struggle with people who just want to play it for fun, or people who aren't, say, at that top level. It's definitely something I'm having to learn now, where it's like, yeah, it's just so important to see, say, kids out in a pitch or, I don't know, doing whatever. But then if I'm like, yeah, if I'm trying to win something, like I want to win something. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly the same. That's it.
Yeah, but it's coming from Ireland, and sometimes you're not always the winner, but yeah. I learned that the hard way. But yeah, I think it's like, yeah, kind of like yourself. I would like to stay in it to help share my knowledge, help share my experiences with kids.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll see if the coaching aspect comes or not. You never know. I could really love it in a year's time.
Yeah, you never know what doors will open as well.
Yeah, exactly. So, Greg, that was me. I don't know if you have anything else you want to share with our lovely folk who are listening.
I don't think so. I'm looking forward to now you trying mountain biking.
Yeah, maybe we should organise that. We'll get Red Bull Ireland set us up someday. You can try hockey. I'll try mountain biking. Here, that actually could be something.
Jesus, yeah. Hockey balls are quite hard. Do they have soft balls?
No. Well, there's the lighter ones, and in the words of my goalie coach, if you get hit with them, he says it doesn't hurt. I can promise you there is a sting, but it doesn't hurt.
Okay.
Actually, that was actually something I was chatting to Stephen about. So Stephen is our Red Bull guy from home who is a gem. And I was saying to him, I really want the Red Bull Jeep, and I'm going to drive around Ireland, go and see all the other athletes. So I'll go out and see Connor go surfing for a bit. He can teach me how to surf because I'm like a fish out of water. Then I'll go down and see Connor. He can teach me how to drift or something, or maybe I'll just get in the car and drive it like 5 miles an hour, like down, shit myself, and then he'll like really put me in. And then I'll come around and see Ronan, and then I'll see you, and then we road trip of Ireland.
Fantastic, yeah.
Yeah, so maybe this could be something that will, get going. We'll get the other athletes in the hockey pitch as well.
How would you be at gymnastics with Reese?
I used to do it whenever I was younger.
Oh, so you'd actually be okay.
I can do a really, really good forward roll.
Nice. Perfect.
Like really, like I can point my toes and everything.
Nice. Well, there you go.
The splits I can do unintentionally, like on the field if I'm like making a save, just bam, there we are. Not sure about the pommel, but like we'll give it a go. Just like anything, just wing yourself around it.
Yeah, I feel like I'd have no business up on a pommel horse.
No, I think I'd pay to see that.
Yeah, well, I'd just be on top of it, holding on. like like hugging it. Try not to fall
Yeah,
off.
I'm fine here. We're trying it.
Nobody move.
Is that stuff you like to do? Just try random shit to see if you like it or not?
Yeah, I do, but I haven't. I probably don't have the chance to do a whole lot of it. So, like, if opportunities come along, yeah, I'd always be keen.
Okay, stay tuned. If anyone is listening and wants to give Greg a batshit crazy adventure to try, let us know and we'll get him through it.
Great. What could possibly go wrong?
Nothing. Absolutely nothing at all. And there's no insurance here, so you're all on your own. Okay. We're almost done. Greg, we're going to finish up with the Unboxed 11. Okay, so
Nice.
11 questions. You can answer it however you like. There's no pressure. You can think about it, really spiritual, in-depth answer, or you can just say whatever comes to mind, which sounds a bit more like you. And I mean that in the best way possible. I'm absolutely here for it. Okay, you ready?
You. Yeah.
Okay, first question. Favorite time of the day?
Late afternoon.
Very specific.
That's when I really get going.
Only takes you about the 10, 11 hours to really get going, but then you're going.
Yeah.
Okay, best compliment you've ever received?
Oh. I don't know. Probably like if I did a section good on a bike when someone said that was good or that was better than such and such.
Yeah.
Something like that.
That was so Irish.
I don't, yeah, but, well, that's the thing. When you say compliments, I'm Irish, so we don't get many of them.
Or
So
when
there's
you
not
do,
many
you're
that
like,
come to mind.
it's a compliment.
Yeah, we run away from it. We're just trying to change the subject.
Yeah, okay, bye.
Yeah.
Okay, question 3. What is the biggest learning experience you've ever had?
Yeah, probably that season traveling in the van, I would say. Or,
Learning how
well,
to eat tins.
this season, doing my own program, actually. It's made me learn a lot about every aspect of what I do, I would say.
Do you think that'll help you in the future?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I think and it's improved me already. Like, I think because I've had to do every element of the racing myself in terms of organizing it all, it's made me like analyze every single element of it and find places to improve.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's already stood to me.
Okay, well, I guess that'll help. What makes you smile the most?
Bite. It was easy.
Me, myself, and my bike.
Yeah.
Okay, 3 things.
I'm so diverse and interesting, haven't I? Just bikes.
Yeah, bikes, and more bikes, and maybe a petrol bike.
Yep.
Okay, 3 things you can't live without.
Well, the first one's obvious. Bikes, my van, and food.
Very practical. I like it. Very, very practical.
Wouldn't get far without either of them.
What's inspiring you in your life right now?
Being the best version of me, I would say.
I like that. Okay. 7, if you weren't a biker.
Oh, no, doesn't compute.
Okay. If you didn't come out of the womb on a bike, what would you be? Or what would you consider being? We can put that word.
I'm drawing a blank. A courier. I was a courier before, so let's just go with that.
Okay, shout out to all the couriers out there. It's a really important job.
Yeah.
They're at my
Be the
building every day.
fastest Deliveroo man.
Climbing up all them hills in Dublin, eh?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, question 8. What is the biggest misconception about you?
I don't know, because I don't know how people conceive me. Yeah, honestly, I don't know, because I don't know what people think about. Again, Irish, so we don't talk about these things.
Fair, valid,
To be
fair.
fair, someone said to me last weekend, he was like another racer, and he said he didn't used to be a fan because he thought I was too serious. And now he spent more time with me, he realised it's not really the case. So maybe people think I'm more serious than I am.
Yeah, you're actually just a bit of crack. Just get to know me.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Okay, who do you look up to and why?
Oh, quite a lot of different ones. Like over the years, you know yourself, you have different idols. I'd say like Bruni, and he's downhill mountain biker, and because he's very analytical, very precise, and he's a good lad. He's sound, but also the ultimate professional.
Okay, good to get the balance. Okay, two to go. One experience that significantly shaped who you are.
Like one key moment, kind of. Probably that race I was telling you about with needing the prize money to get home,
Yeah,
because ever since it's kind of it's given me good perspective, I'd say.
fair. And last one. This is very in depth now. Okay,
Oh, no.
how do you stay true to yourself and stay unboxed?
Ooh. By remembering that this life I've done is a privilege, and it's what I love to do, and I'm lucky to be able to do it.
And that is a brilliant way to end. Greg, you have been absolutely fantastic having you on, getting to know a bit more about you, younger Greg, coming out of the womb on a bike, and everything that goes along with it. Like, yeah, I think you're an absolute gem, especially after we've had a few bevs in Milton Keynes. That was
Good experience.
Great time. So I really appreciate you taking the time to come on and chat to us.
No, thanks very much. Thanks for having me on. It was good to get unboxed.
Ooh, I like that line, and we'll leave it at that.
Nice.